FORA.tv. The world is thinking.
Yeah, and there's a scene in the book actually where Michael Hayden, who's the director of the NSA at the time and the architect of what's known as the Warrantless surveillance program, or the terrorist surveillance program they like to call it, actually gets into a shouting match at the National Press Club during a speech with another journalist over the meaning of the Fourth Amendment. And it's a very telling passage about how he and other people in the government see the Fourth Amendment. And the reporter, a guy named Jonathan Landay, who writes for McClatchy now, was saying, no, it says, no searches and seizures without a warrant. And probable cause. And probable cause. Exactly. And where you're going to, and what Hayden keeps coming back with in this, right. And so he's, right.
We don't like the color of your skin or your hair or whatever.
Right. So Landay is quoting this same chapter and verse, and Hayden keeps saying, no, the Fourth Amendment says reasonable search and seizure. Prohibition against unreasonable search and seizure. And they get into this shouting match, and yeah, pull out the language. But it really, what they saw this was as the Fourth Amendment is meant to protect against unreasonable searches and seizures, and that's how the administration saw it. And I think that a lot of people looked at that and said, you don't know how to read the Constitution. I mean, there's this great, it's not in my book, it's in another really great book by Barton Gellman about Cheney called Angler, where Jim Comey, who's the Deputy Attorney General at the time, that there's this great crisis in the administration when the people finally figure out what they're doing with this terrorist surveillance program. And Ashcroft is ready to resign over it, and Comey's going to quit, and Bob Mueller, the FBI director, is like, unless things change, we're out of here. And they're arguing over essentially the orders that have been issued and the constitutionality of them. And Comey is in this meeting with David Addington, who is Cheney's right-hand man, who was sort of helping write a lot of these surveillance orders. And Comey says, he says to this room full of people, he says, no lawyer would look at this order and think that it holds water, that it's constitutional. And Addington says, well, I'm a lawyer, and I think it is. And Comey looks at him and he says, no good lawyer. So this was the debate that was happening. I mean, there was a fundamental debate about the meaning of the Fourth Amendment going on within the administration.
Does it still come up? Does the Fourth Amendment still play?
I don't think it comes up anymore, because the courts have actually recently ruled that when it comes to collecting foreign intelligence information, there is an exception to the warrant clause of the Fourth Amendment.